I think both of them are making good progress. They're not where we need them to be just yet, but I think both of them are working hard and giving us good progress. And hopefully by game one of them or somebody else will surface to take that position.
Different guys that are kind of filling in.
I think we have some good talent in some positions. We need to find guys to be able to execute and play good in all 11 positions, and we're working to get that done. So we're not a finished product by any means, but I do like where we're headed.
So that was Vic Fangio speaking today after the Miami Dolphins training camp practice. He isn't quite satisfied where the defense is as of yet. And in fact, he actually mentions Cam Smith and Noah as progressing. They're getting better, but they're just not there yet. So he's going to be looking to fill some more holes. As he had said before, he is not happy with the defense in terms of the players that he needs to put on the field. Of course, I'm sure the guy is a perfectionist. He's been around forever. He knows defenses in the NFL, and he knows exactly what pieces of the puzzle he needs to make a great picture. Obviously, Jalen Ramsey going down kind of hurts things, and we'll have to hold our own until such time as Jalen Ramsey gets back. But they're looking to add some other players. So at this point, you got to watch the waiver line and see who gets cut. Every single person that gets cut from a defensive perspective could be a potential Miami Dolphins player. Now, what I found interesting today, I saw a video where Peter King of NBC Sports, he visited the Miami Dolphins training camp, and he came away with 3 observations. This was before Vic Fangio spoke today. Now, understand when you see this, some of the things don't match up. He thinks that the Miami Dolphins defense is in a good place, and Vic Fangio, nope, he's not satisfied. So let's get to the video with Peter King and react to it.
You know, I find it interesting to watch this team practice. A terrible, muggy, oppressive day.
You mean summer in South Florida? That's what we call it. We call that summer in South Florida. But I guess to people from up north, it seems to be oppressive. Oh well.
And this team practiced for 2 hours and 15 minutes. Longest practice so far of the summer. And I talked to Tua Tagovailoa afterwards, and I said, you guys really have fun. And they do. And that is the hallmark of a Mike McDaniel team.
So he's saying that the first observation that he saw is that the team actually has fun at practice. Now understand, the camaraderie that Mike McDaniel has built is part of what makes a good team. I'm not going to get into some of that camaraderie. It pisses some people off when I talk about it, but for sure, the nucleus of this team is built upon a very, very simple premise and a very strong bonded premise. Let's continue.
They're going to go out even on an oppressive day, and they're going to have fun. As Jalen Waddle told me, hey, listen, this weather is to our advantage.
Now understand, you're a football player. You're going to practice. You're playing a job that's paying you millions of dollars. Of course you're going to have fun. I don't understand why some sports journals think that this is so laborious. You're trained. You're a trained athlete. You've worked out. You've lifted weights. You've run. This is what you wait for. You wait for the season. This is the fun part. Actually, the games are the fun part. Practice sucks. But this is what you want, and this is what you get paid to do.
Really helps us in September and October. Number 2, let's talk about the new Vic Fangio defense. So Miami sort of won a sweepstakes to get Fangio after he took 1 year off post Denver. And when Vic Fangio came here and interviewed with Mike McDaniel, one of the things that McDaniel was impressed with is the fact that he was really confident that he was going to win with these players.
Now, I'm not sure where Peter King got that information, but you and I have seen the videos. We've seen Vic Fangio talk. He says, I think I might be able to do some things with these players, but they're not the players that I want to move forward with. I want to bring different pieces of the puzzle so I can put together the picture I want to put. I got to bake this cake the way I want to bake it. Obviously, Jalen Ramsey wasn't here when Vic Fangio got signed. That happened afterwards. So he started putting things together. And then, of course, the Ramsey injury kind of derailed things for right now. But he's still looking for other players. He brought in Cam Smith as a rookie, but he's not there yet. He's progressing, but he's not there yet. Noah, some of the other guys, not there yet. Obviously, there is one guy who's absolutely there, and that's Javon Holland, who he's going to talk about in a little bit.
And I think when you interview coaches, they might say, well, maybe we need this, this, and this. And obviously, no defense is perfect, no offense is perfect. But Vic Fangio is confident, I believe, that he can win in a safety-centric scheme, which his is. And he can win with the players that he has in-house with the Dolphins.
Now understand, now he's going to get to his third observation, which he kind of led into by saying that Fangio can win with a strong safety, a safety that he can build the defense around. But one of the problems I think that Vic Fangio is seeing, which a lot of teams see, is the depth. Obviously, Jalen Ramsey goes down, superstar. Somebody's got to be the next man up and step up. But they're not going to be Jalen Ramsey. He's going to talk about that third piece that he observed, which is basically the cog in Vic Fangio's defense.
Number 3, let's talk about one of those players on defense. And that is the second round pick of 2.5 years ago, Javon Holland, the safety. He's had some real great moments so far as a member of the Dolphins and in that secondary. But I think he will up his game and do even more this year as a member of the Dolphins, because he will be empowered to play deep, not just to play that physical box safety. He'll play everywhere. And I think one of the things that the Dolphins have discovered this year in camp, he has really been great in space. And in this defense, you have to be great and productive in space.
Now understand, it's August, and Javon Holland is the ideal safety for Vic Fangio's defense. What Vic Fangio, who's been around and basically the master of defense in the NFL for the last decade or so, what he understands, what he fully understands, is he's one man away from that not happening. Nobody foresaw what was going to happen with Jalen Ramsey. Nobody foresaw what happened with Byron Jones last year. And nobody is going to be able to foresee whether something happens with Javon Holland. What you have to be able to foresee is, what do you do in case something does happen to him? That's what he needs to do in terms of finding those other pieces. You can't be going 60 miles an hour, spin off a flat, and go down to 30 miles an hour and then have to pull off to the side of the road. Can't do that. You've got a 20-plus week season, maybe longer depending on how you do in the playoffs, and you have to be able, as a coach, as a defensive coordinator, to foresee the strong possibility that one of your main wheels may not be there the entire season. That's what probably keeps Vic Fangio up at night. I've got a stud. I've got an absolute stud in Javon Holland. I know this guy can be that piece in my defense, but when I look down the roster, I don't have anybody ready to step in. That's what a good defensive coordinator has to adjust to. He has to make sure that the roster just isn't set for the first string, maybe not even for the second string, but he's 3 deep. Not saying that they're all going to be Javon Holland capable. They're not going to be that good, but they have to be good enough where you don't have to pull the car off the side of the road. And think about it just this way. Assume this was the first or second week of the season. If this was the first or second week of the season and now Jalen Ramsey went down, he'd be out for the year. And if he was out for the year, what would the Dolphins do? Obviously, they'd be in trouble. Vic Fangio has admitted that Cam and Noah aren't ready yet. He's trying to get them there. They're progressing, his own words, but they're not ready. Who's behind Javon Holland that could step in and be ready just in case something happens? That's where the money's going to get made this year. That's where both Mike McDaniel, Chris Greer, I guess we could add in there, and Vic Fangio have to work their magic. First team probably can play with anybody in the league. I don't think anybody can say that the first team can't play with any team in the league, including Kansas City. The big issue is what happens if certain cogs of the wheel of that first team go down. That's what you have to make sure that you have ready to go just in case. If they can figure out a way to advance the progression of Cam and Noah and bring in some other guys to play safety in case Javon Holland goes down, then he'll be happy. But until then, he's still going to look like that at press conferences where he's kind of like dodging the question, but he is shooting it straight. He told everybody these guys aren't ready yet. So what's going to happen? Watch the waiver lines over the next couple weeks. If he sees somebody get cut from another team that he thinks could fit with the Miami Dolphins defense, they're going to bring him in. He's got to be aggressive. He has to be at this point. He has to make sure this defense is ready. And I think we're going to see a lot of things happen over the next 4 or 5 weeks. Let me know what you guys think. Fins up.
Is anybody catching on to this Barry guy?